Hi, everybody. We have a really good interview for you today. But before we get to that, please take a moment and subscribe. We would really appreciate the support. Now on with that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got actor Gregory Zarian with me. So welcome, Gregory.
Hey, Michael, how are you? Or do I call you Mike?
So off camera, we had this discussion of what we should, if we're going with, the shorter version of our name or the full name. You prefer Gregory. I said, if you call me Michael, I feel like I'm in trouble. So.
Yes. So I'm not going to call you Mike. I'll call you Michael. And then if you call me Greg, I'm going to give you the whole story about my father, which is, I wanted your name to be Greg. I would have put that on your birth certificate.
Yeah, I love that. I love that he gets upset if somebody calls you Greg.
My father, very, very formal. And, I have an identical twin brother and an older brother. And he raised us to be gentlemen. So he was the consummate gentleman. And, somebody said something to me like, hey, Greg. And my father said his name is Gregory. And the guy said Greg. And I looked and I said, my father said my name is Gregory. And if he wanted my name to be Greg, it would have been Greg on my birth certificate. So it is Gregory. And, it was all about respect. And for a long time, I went as Greg. But as time went on, I committed to Gregory. And it's A, who I am, and B, it's always respecting my dad and what my parents wanted and asked of me.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. I think I would have done okay with your dad because I tend to have that, kind of Southern hospitality, politeness, so I'm a lot of sir and Mr. and, ma'am, that type of stuff.
You know what? We were brought up with yes, sir, and yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think with this, a lot of chivalry is gone. I believe that a lot of people,
I agree with that.
Especially men, like I was brought up that if a woman walks in a room, you stand up and you open someone's door. And, there's so much about, what do you think I can't open my door? No, I'm just walking through. And so I was just brought up as a gentleman, and I invite my nephews and I say to anybody that will take a moment and listen, stand up when somebody comes to your table, say thank you and please. Ask somebody that is, making your cup of coffee at Starbucks, how are you today? And just it makes a difference. And I feel that together, Michael David and Gregory William can bring back chivalry. Dang it!
I love that, because don't you think there's room for both? We can advance, whatever you want to call this women's movement, which is a great thing that we need, and we can still have a little bit of that politeness and standing up when a woman enters the room. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
You know what? No. And there's, I just heard a story of a woman saying to a friend of my son, well, what do you mean I can't open my own door? And he was just being kind. And I believe, a pendulum will go this way and go that way. I believe if we can just waffle a little bit right here, there's a place for all of it. I teach my nephews to handwrite thank you cards.
I love that.
I have a box of stationery, handwrite thank you cards. Everyone can text. But what about the mailbox and getting a letter that says, hey, thank you. I write my aunt, I write her cards every 2 weeks.
She probably loves that too.
Oh, I just think it makes a difference. And for so long, we survived on a letter and a stamp. And, I don't want to get so lost in a computer or a text.
Yeah.
It's engaging, it's listening. It's one thing that I, especially with the past couple of years, I do a lot more of.
Yeah. I think that's such a good skill that's getting lost. Like with my sons, especially, they don't know how to write, because they never do it. They can type, they can text, but just, filling out a check or writing a thank you card, anything like that, they struggle with, especially like the cursive writing. They don't really teach that anymore.
I was in 5th grade, and her name was Dorothy Kennedy, my 5th grade teacher. And the alphabet was stenciled around the classroom. And I remember I got a D in my penmanship. And
I've been there.
I was pissed. So I would spend hours looking up at the alphabet. And now my writing is extremely, it's very dramatic because it's cursive. Print. And I feel that it's an art form that is gone. And
yeah,
I love handwriting things. I still handwrite checks.
Oh, me too.
And you know what's great? I'll tell you this, Michael David, is, you know, at the very bottom where it says memo.
Yeah.
I write the word thank you. Just
Oh,
because.
that's nice.
I don't know why, because it's like, okay, I have money to pay this. Thank you. Thank you for trusting me for your service or the credit card or my mortgage payment. Thank you. And I feel it's just putting a great little blessing out into the universe.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought I was the only one.
So should we send each other checks?
Yeah, I think so. We should definitely be corresponding.
Gregory Zarian, and pay to the order of, and then you can just send it to Matt, and he'll get
okay. Yeah, fair deal. That's pretty good. So I don't know how we got off on this track, but I'm kind of glad we did.
So am I.
Yeah, I guess that's all I have. So
I appreciate
great interview.
Please write notes and help your mom in the kitchen, guys. We're good.
So Gregory, let's start here. Tell me a little bit about what got you into the entertainment business. Why did you want to become an actor?
You know, I think as a kid, you know, it was always very fun to play, act, and do stuff. And being an identical twin, you know, there's that the novelty behind it. So we would do stuff together. It wasn't that I pursued acting. You know, there was a show that was on TV for years called American Bandstand for a long time. I used to dance on a bandstand. I was on there for 5 years. So I found comfort in being in front of a camera.
Wait a minute, you were a dancer on American Bandstand.
5 years.
Well, I probably watched that.
Well, we did.
That was the show when I was growing up.
It was that.
Yeah.
And so I was never afraid to be on camera. And then I was working at a department store, and a writer on Days of Our Lives said, "Are you an actor?" And I went, "Sure." And next thing, soap opera. And, you know, I am grateful for what happened, because it was instant success at that moment. However, I just wasn't ready. And I was taken off the soap within a couple months, and it was brought to my attention that the quotes were, "You were great to look at, but you weren't talented." And I went, okay. And, you know,
I would have said ouch, but okay.
It was a great ouch, because then from there I went and modeled in Europe for a couple of years, and I came back, and it has really allowed me to respect anybody that says I'm an actor. It has allowed me to, you know, it was just given to me. I mean, I don't, somebody said, "Hey, are you an actor?" And I was put on a soap opera. So when you hear stories of people saying, "Hey, I had to work at 5 jobs to get my SAG card and do all these things," or it used to be SAG then AFTRA. And because it was a soap opera, it was AFTRA at the time. I didn't have that struggle. So it was very different. Right. And luckily, because of all my time on the soap, I didn't have to work that hard to get a SAG card. And, you know, I am very fortunate that I did a lot of commercials very quickly. So the struggle, it wasn't that the struggle wasn't real. It was just a very different struggle. And it was a very different And had it gone differently, and I had been on a soap opera for years, the trajectory, of course, would have looked different. But it made me hungrier, and it made me, there was a moment when I was living in Milan, Italy, and I didn't have any money, and it kept on coming into my head like, oh, you're good looking, but you're not talented. And a lot of people think that you don't have to be talented to be a model. Well, yeah, you do. You have to tell a story.
That's right.
You're telling a story, you're doing something. So it really just put this this energy and this edge and this wanting to do research, this wanting to study, this wanting to, look at the new series on TV called Masterclass. It's just paying attention to everything that I do, so that when I start a job tomorrow, which I'm starting, I have all of that history to bring into this character that will then tell a brand new story. I don't take anything for granted. And everything is a handwritten thank you note. Everything is let me ask a few more questions. Let me understand, okay, what do you mean? What don't you mean? Hey, can you help me on this? It's kind of like with what, you're a parent. There's no, there's no book. There are books, but there's 1,000 books, but to be the best parent you can be, it's trial and error, it's learning, it's asking questions, it's talking to your wife, it's everything and anything. And we still fail, yet we still get out.
Very true. So, okay, so that gives me a few different questions. One, have you ever run into that person that said that to you since then?
We had lunch last year. I was actually nominated for an Emmy, and in one of the interviews, actually one of the soap magazines that I did interviews for, I quoted her and I sent her the article, and she felt like I was angry with her.
Well, yeah, I probably would too.
Michael, I am so grateful for her, because it made me realize that you have to work hard. There's people that will show up and be an overnight success. Somebody said to Jim Carrey, what's it like to be an overnight success? And he said, I've been doing this for 19 years. Yeah. That wasn't overnight. People say, oh my God, you've made it. You've got an Emmy nomination. I'm like, I do. And I'm back in the hustle every day. I never want to feel like, boom, I've made it. Because if I go, I've made it, I then lose my drive. So we had lunch and I thanked her, and it was very emotional because she felt bad, but I said, please don't feel bad. You put the fire under my butt to really work hard. And I got to look at her and grab her hands, and we were both rather emotional. And I said, thank you. Because had I not had that moment with you, the drive would have been different. And I was, as we talk about my dad, I was brought up to work really hard for everything. And I love that I work really hard for everything. Sometimes things happen easier, sometimes things happen quicker, but I have this analogy that I think that everybody that works is on a stripper pole. And I believe, and a lot of people are like, what do you mean? And, I feel that I wake up every morning and I am working my butt off. And some days I'm spinning and I'm twirling and I'm dancing and I'm doing what I gotta do, and I'm not making a cent. But then tomorrow or yesterday, I was making a couple of bucks, and then some days I am just bringing. But I still wake up to go to work. Right. I love that I work my butt off, and I love that I'm my parents' child to work and never take anything for granted. So it's a beautiful moment, and whenever I talk about her, I get to say, Shelley, how much I love you and how grateful I am, because it would be very, very different. Here, look, I get this. I'll show you. because of what I got with her, it's an Emmy nomination.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Saying so because somebody was fearless enough to be that honest with me. She changed my life.
Well, yeah, what a terrific story. Because a lot of times we were kind of talking about that off camera, where I said that I wouldn't have spoken up if somebody called me by something I didn't want to be called. I'd probably just let it pass, where you kind of correct people. And I thought that's really good. You should do that. But a lot of people, they won't have that kind of harder conversation. You know, she didn't have to tell you that. She could have just kept that to herself. And who knows where your life would have ended up. I'm sure it'd have been fine, but it would have been different. But because she had the courage to say it, changed things.
We were standing in front of her refrigerator at my twin brother's house at a Christmas party. And you know what? It happened during Christmas. And next thing I knew, 2 months later, I was on a plane to Milan, Italy. And, you know, the fact that I got to grow in a foreign country, the fact that, you know, when we live here in this, you know, I speak the language and I can get a job, but I didn't speak Italian. So I went to another country, learned the language, and really acclimated to the culture. Some of the best things. I loved it so much that I moved to Paris the next year. And
Perfect.
I got to live in Paris. I got to live in Munich. I got to live in Milan, Italy, and become of that culture and also redefine who I am and who I wanted to be. It's never, you know, there's all these people that get these international jobs, and great for them. I'm just a different person. Just my trajectory is different. I've never been given a job and boom, I've been on 1,000 shows. I go from job to job to job, and I'm again back in the hustle. And I feel that it gives me moments like this where you and I can respect how hard we work and how tough it is, and how the words thank you and please are so important. And, you know, I'm sure people hire you or want to be part of your podcast because you are a gentleman. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah. And it does make a difference. You get a reputation for treating people a certain way, and it definitely helps going forward. Absolutely.
And one thing that I'm grateful for is that my mom died 20 years ago. And there's a huge, here in Los Angeles, her name is Stephanie Edwards, and she's a very big TV personality. And she gave my mom's eulogy. And she said, my dad's real name was Loris, and my mom's first name was Doris. So isn't that great? So she said in front of hundreds of people, standing room only for my mom. And she said, Loris and Doris raised chivalrous gentlemen. And to date, that is probably by far one of the best compliments I've ever been connected to, because I am my mom's child. And we are chivalrous and we are gentlemen. And, you know, I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for all of that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So when you were starting out back in high school, I mean, did you take theater classes, or were you athletic? What were you doing while you were in school?
I was a jock. I took theater because I had to. I was an all-state track star.
Oh, very nice. What was your event?
My events were the 120 high hurdles, the 330 low hurdles. And
you got to have some athleticism for those hurdles.
And when you fall, you get up. I have started it. And then the 440. I was part of the 440 in the mile relay.
Oh, 440 was my event. That was I was the slow guy on the speed relays. You know, I was the slowest of the four. But 440, that was my event.
What was your time?
Well, so I was in, let's see, I guess in high school, I was in the low 50s for 400 with that. You know, I don't know. I might have broke 52 some, but I was probably more like around that 52 mark, I'd say. You were probably better than that. You were probably one of those guys in the high 40s or something.
There was only one time when I broke 50.
That's fast.
You know, I don't know how it happened, and it did. We were probably the same. Like a good 51, 52, which it wasn't slow, but we were placed, you and I were probably placed strategically because it's all about numbers. I loved everything about it. And still to this, do you still run?
I do still run. I don't sprint, but I do run.
I run from everything.
Yeah. I'll tell you my sad running story is real quick. So I had a year several years ago that I decided I'm going to run 2,000 miles for the year. Right. So that's a lot. It's a lot of mileage. And so I worked on it all year. So December 30th ends, I'm at 1,987 miles. So I'm going to run a half marathon on the 31st of December. That's going to get me to my 2,000 miles.
That's so awesome.
30. I know. I was so excited for it. I was exhausted, but so excited. So the 31st of December comes. I've got the stomach flu. Didn't get to finish it. It messed me up for months. I had to take 2 or 3 months before I could even run again. Now I look back and I was like, it's a better story now.
Sure, because you're also probably really skinny.
Oh, at the time I was really skinny. Yeah. Probably as skinny as I've been since I ran track.
Well,
so
I could say so many things right now, but I'm just going to leave it where
it is. Now I am running to try to get rid of, the bulking up that I did for while we were in isolation there. Years before last.
How are you doing that?
Well, I'm back to running. I'm still lifting weights. I still do that, because I'm older and the running just beats me to death. But now I'm trying to run every other day. Maybe not quite what I did years ago, but at least enough to burn the calories. You know how that goes though. It's all diet. If you get your diet straight, you'll lose the weight.
Minimum cardio is 150 minutes a week. And it's just about elevating your heart rate.
Yeah. Just so you can keep, because it'll stay there. It burns those calories for a lot longer than you actually.
Absolutely. And as people say, oh, I don't have time or I can't do it. With every excuse is a solution. So I'm all about finding solutions.
Yeah, I like that. So are you still running? What's your workout routine?
I am. I still run. I do a lot of boot campy cardio stuff.
Yeah, nice.
I really love yoga. I do. It was formerly known as Bikram yoga, but now we call it 26 and 2 because Bikram had a few allegations against him for being inappropriate.
Yeah. I know that was disappointing.
Like, dude, stop. But one of my facilitators is actually in the documentary about Bikram, and she is I feel beautiful British Rastafari with dreadlocks and the accent. And she taught me how to do my practice. And it is more than just, what I love is because I think everybody in their own way is really, I think we're all tough on each other. And I think we're all, I don't look great. I don't look fat. I look this, I look that. And it's also about celebrating who you are. And there's some really beautiful moments that I've gotten from her. Like if you're feeling insecure, or some moments if I feel insecure, just go back to, I love you, Gregory. I love you, Gregory. I love you, Gregory. Or I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Or even quitting the noise in your head and you breathe in, you breathe out. Like I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. And it's just this affirmation of you doing the best you can at that moment. And for me to be in a boxer brief in front of 25 other people that can take their leg up and over their head, and I'm just standing with my foot in my hand and I am pouring sweat, I'm proud of myself. Like I am in this room, I am here with all of you, and we're all holding our foot and hoping that we don't fall over and pass out.
Yeah. Yeah, I love yoga. I don't do it nearly enough. You know, I know enough to maybe be a little bit dangerous because my wife does it quite a bit. But
I'm gonna bring you in with me to a class.
yes, we should put that on YouTube because it would get like 1 million likes.
Okay, you're on.
Like I'll look like I know what I'm doing when we're in the warrior poses, but then after that it breaks down quick.
Like my body's not made to do half of that stuff. And my favorite thing is when they're like, you can use your hands. I'm like, I'm using my hands, my knees. I'm doing whatever I can. And you bet I'm pouring water all over myself. No, Michael, I'm taking you with me to a class.
I'm in. Yeah, I'm totally in for that. It's amazing how much effort it takes just to hold some of those poses, just the balance.
But it's also talking yourself off the ledge and stopping and realizing, you know, I'm in this room, and what I've been taught is for 90 minutes, don't leave the room. That's it. Even if you sit down or you are laying down or you're in your shavasana, do not get up and leave. And I love that dedication. I love the discipline. And I think it's a beautiful practice where you stare at yourself in a mirror. And the truth is, on the other side of it, a lot of people can't stand looking at themselves in a mirror. So it really has taught me a lot more of my physical gratitude.
Yeah, I love that. I'm in. Next time I'm out in LA, yoga.
Or we could do it online. She does it online.
Oh, yeah. Everything now. I should have thought everything now is virtual.
LA, I'm going to come by. I'm going to pick you up. It's called Hade Yoga. I'm going to get you on a mat right next to me, and we're going to crush it together.
Your expectations may be higher than they should be.
Oh, I'm not saying that we're not going to fall and eat crap, but I'm just saying we are not going to leave the room, and we will be there.
No, I'm in. Yeah.
Got a date.
Yeah. My wife will think that is the best thing she has ever heard. She'll love it.
And we'll take photos.
Oh yeah, we have to. Absolutely have to. So my mother, so this is, you'll have to tell me if she's correct, because I don't know. My mother, because I play this game when I have somebody on the show, I go around to everybody in the family. I'm like, what do you know this person from? So my mother says that you did a thing with your brother on Rachel Ray.
For years, we were.
That's what she said. Like for a lot, because she loved that show.
We were her makeover twins, and my twin brother, celebrated fashion expert, lifestyle expert, and designer. He has a book called
Wow.
10 Commandments to a Perfect Wardrobe. So yeah, he was doing a lot of TV appearances, and he was very friendly with one of the producers from the show. And I said, hey, I think you should bring me on. And they found a way to bring me on because outside of acting, I'm also a life coach, a certified life coach. So
I could tell that.
We were brought on as her makeover twins, and they would have us make over identical twins. So it was pretty fascinating and pretty amazing. And I even took it a step further as he was doing the hair and the makeup, and we were dealing with the clothing. I would say, how do you feel? What's going on? How are you? And there was one set of twins that the Penny sisters, and one of them didn't want a makeover. And at one point she said, I'm afraid my sister will be upset with me. And she was defined by that story of worrying about hurting her twin. And her sister said, oh my God, no. Like, why would you be? I mean, even with a makeover, they're still identical. So, and the one that was afraid wanted to be a little bit more rocker. She wanted to put on the leather jackets and kind of cool, sexy boots. And it was really beautiful because it also changed my relationship with my twin.
Really?
Yeah, you know, we were brought up as the twins. So we weren't really necessarily given an identity. It's either to say the twins. His name is Lawrence, so it's Lawrence and Gregory. So for me, I was always the and the. And talk about therapy. So it's, and people always assume that you're the same person.
Right.
Like, oh, I know, Lawrence, I don't need to ask you questions. And, we get dismissed often. People assume that we are identical in every way. People assume that, if you go into the SAG and you're looking for actors, and we're listed under a different jurisdiction, like we are special acts. It's under, like, if you're looking for a novelty act or a specialty, that's what we are listed under as identical twins. It's kind of everybody looks at you, and it's kind of a bit of a, it's this all the time when we're together, because I feel we are very identical. It's this, yeah. So we're novel. It's called the novelty act, and it's
Yeah, see, you taught me something there, because I never thought of it. But you see twins on different shows and stuff, they have to come from somewhere. So it makes sense that you would have a listing.
we have a listing. Yes, we do. So tell your mama she was right.
Yeah. Well, she usually is. I didn't really doubt her, but yeah, she said. So did that show and the work you did on that, did that lead to the judging on America's Top Model, or did that come before?
Okay, you did your work. Top Model came before. I think it turned, we did it for a couple of years. And even to this day, we do quite a bit together, because I think, there's identical twins that are just so inseparable.
Yeah.
There are identical twins that have their own lives. Like, I am Gregory, he is Lawrence, and we happen to be twins. And it took a long time. I don't want to be defined by being a twin.
Of course not. Yeah.
And to be a twin. He's Lawrence and he happens to be a twin. And, independently, I'm very proud of us. Collectively, I'm very proud of us, because we love each other and we have a great time together. And he is my very best friend. And we also don't live together. So when we're done, we're like, I'll see ya. Bye. You know what I'm saying? And I feel it's healthy. And, when you live in this world where somebody looks exactly like you in the same business, one of us is always dismissed. One of us is always told that the other, I get this on occasion. Hey, you know what? You're a lot better looking than Gregory. I'm like, oh, well, I would let Gregory know that. Thank you. Or, wow, Lawrence is a lot thinner. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of that.
That's actually, I'm laughing, but that's actually probably kind of difficult at times, because we all hate to be judged. But when you're a twin, you probably do get put up against the other twin all the time.
What I always say is, thank God he's good looking.
Well, the real question is, how fast can he run the 400?
I could smoke him with his eyes closed. Yeah, so it's tell your mom. Lawrence is amazing, and I'm proud of him. And we do something fun now. And we've actually been approached to take it a step further. We do something called Twins Time, and it's this really fun back and forth between us. And we're identical twins, and we're celebrating it. And he's the best. I love him very much.
That's terrific. That's terrific. So for me, it was probably, honestly, the first thing I saw you in was probably a commercial, but the first thing I remember seeing you in was Nip Tuck.
Come on.
Yeah, because you were the doctor. You were a doctor.
We're the plastic surgeons, the Berkowitz twins.
Yeah.
Like, Michael, it's one of the best moments of our career, because Ryan Murphy is epic. And at the time he was epic, but it was just, he wasn't Ryan Murphy that we know of him today.
That's right.
We went into audition for it, and in front of us is Donna Mills, Joan Van Ark, Leanne Hunley, and all these icons from my youth. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God. And, Donna Mills is 81. And to look like that, I mean,
Hard to believe.
so when we got the call back and we went in, and I felt, because it's nip tuck, I need to make the connection with Lawrence a little bit more incestuous. So in our callback, and this is when callbacks were in front of everybody, he was standing in front of me, and I took my hand and I went all the way over his shoulder and I rubbed him. Brothers rub each other like this. So I made it a little bit more intimate. And
I'm sure he loved that.
We're really adaptable to one another.
That's good.
Conversation about it.
Yeah.
That's what booked the job for us. So even if you go back and watch the episode, there's this really intimate moment where I caress my twin. And then the great part is that I was sitting next to Donna Mills right here. And because she had been on Knots Landing for 14 years with Joan Van Ark, to watch Donna watch Joan, to watch Joan watch Donna, to watch these friends, but TV royalty work together. One of the best experiences that we've ever had together as twins. And to this day, Donna has become a dear, dear friend. Like I see her.
Oh, terrific.
She calls me her boyfriend. I call her my girlfriend, and she's the real deal. She's one of the coolest dames that I know.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, she gives off she's very old time Hollywood type of vibe is what you get from her.
It goes back to what we talked about. I mean, we talk often about doing a self-tape. I don't have a setup. I mean, even when I pulled up the Emmy thing, you see that little bit of a ring light. And before we started doing this, I'm like, I'm not great with any of that. And Donna, a friend of mine was at a casting, and Donna was reading for the same show, different parts. And she walked up to the front desk and she said, please tell so-and-so Miss Donna Mills is here. And the girl looked up and she said, I'm sorry, what? She said, I'm here to see so-and-so. Please let them know that Miss Donna Mills is here. And my friend called me immediately to tell me how awesome that was.
Yeah. Well, it is.
Well, now people will say like, hey, scan this QR code and sign in. We don't introduce ourselves anymore. I believe that this has changed so much of everything that even our introductions have changed.
Yeah, I agree.
So she's the real deal. And she is she's one of my dearest friends. So grateful that I have her in my life.
Yeah, that's terrific. That's terrific. So,
yes.
So I mentioned commercials. You've done all of them. It's like every time I turn TV on, you're on something.
Yes.
Yeah. How did that happen? How did you get? Because seriously, I mean, it doesn't matter what channel I'm on. It never fails. Here you come.
Okay. It's never too soon. I love you. Thank you. You know what it is? I'm just, I call it I look very multicultural. I don't look Latin, but I can play Latin. I look Italian. I look Greek.
Yeah.
Dad's Armenian. My dad was Armenian. My mom was German. So it's kind of, it's something, but it's not something, if that makes sense.
It does.
And, I'm as old as dirt and I don't have any gray hair yet. So it puts me in a little bit right there, but I shaved. It just puts me in a very available demographic.
Yeah.
It's different now because I'm not Black, Asian, or Latin. So it goes back to
right.
The pendulum has really gone this far. And it's even like, it's coming back a little bit, but even saying like my team, like there'll be a breakdown for a show and they'll say, yeah, we're looking for an Armenian guy. Well, I'm half Armenian. My last name is Zarian. Casting back and say, yeah, he just doesn't look Armenian. People, what, like, so please.
How's that work?
Tell me what Armenian looks like. And yeah, so it's, I'm super grateful. I get to be in a really, a fun age range.
Yeah.
So I can play between, I want to say like 40 to mid 50s. And I think the reason why I am so lucky and I work as much as I do is I have fun on every job. I play, I tell a story, I get to meet really, really, really great people. And, you know, one casting director calls another casting director, calls another casting director. And I just had an in-person audition 2 weeks ago with a casting company. Her name is Gabrielle Sherry, and I've known her forever, since I started. And because it was my first audition in person for her, as soon as she came out and waited for me and we hugged, and I didn't get a call back, I didn't book the commercial, but what was so great is knowing that they called my agency, only wanted a handful of actors and a handful of actresses. But what people don't realize, even as a casting director, they are submitting the best of their best so that they hopefully get the next job. You know, if you have a history, of course, they're going to call and go, hey, we want Michael David for this job. But you still have to audition. You still have to put in your bid.
Sure.
It's the wheel. We're all on the hamster wheel.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. So those connections, even when you don't land a job, you know, maybe you weren't right for that particular job, but they remember you. So then if something comes along, here you go.
But I gave her great tape, if that makes any sense.
It does.
You know, because if somebody coming in that isn't great tape, you're not really doing your job, I think. So yeah, I was going to say everyone's great. Everyone lands in the tape that they're meant to land in.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you had a stint on the 3rd season of Westworld. Awesome.
Did you watch it?
I did. I was a Westworld fan when Yul Brynner was doing the movie.
Okay. This is going to make you think that I'm really cool. Do you know who Richard Benjamin is?
Remind me.
He was in the real Westworld with Yul Brynner, James Brolin, Richard Benjamin, the cowboy with the mustache.
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Really?
His wife, Paula Prentice, they are my friends. And when I went...
I'm a little jealous of that.
Well, you remember season 1, when they were actually in the laboratory or whatever, you saw, as an homage to the original, the Yul Brynner character.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal storytelling. Yeah, that as well was one of the best jobs I've ever had. Unbelievable. And I thought they did such a good job kind of throwing back to the movie without throwing back to the movie. You know, they just kind of let you know, yeah, we're aware, but we're going to do our own thing. Yeah, we're aware that we're cool to even acknowledge that. No,
that's right.
I think it was extremely respectful, and I think it was done so well.
Yeah.
Just a small little something to be like, okay, I saw that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, I've always been a big Yul Brynner fan. I was a Magnificent Seven fan, but it was also, you know, growing up, 10 Commandments every Easter. Moses.
And Baxter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just amazing. Just amazing. It's one that I wish he was still around. You know, you talk about people you'd like to have met. That's one I'd like to have met.
Yeah, Yul Brynner. But that's also goes back to everything that we talk about when he was in The King and I, and it's old storytelling. And I feel that, you know, my mom would say, and you know, unfortunately she passed 20 years ago, but she didn't like the fact that love stories or romances, even 20 years ago, had become gratuitous, because she said as a little girl growing up and becoming a teenager, what she loved the most is seeing the man and the woman go toward the bedroom and the door closed, and the
Little
beauty of
mystery.
what your imagination did. It was
Yeah.
all about imagination, and now there's no imagination left because you know exactly what's going to happen. You sign a clause in your contract that you're going to show body and skin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think we've, of course, as time has gone on, we've lost some of the imagination of what it used to be.
Yeah, I know. I pine for those days. I'm sure I'm not alone with some of that. But yeah, there's no mystery anymore.
None at all.
So I should have mentioned. So Venice the Series was where you got your Daytime Emmy or nomination, which was awesome. That's not easy to do. And that one, if I remember correctly, it was like a web series, which is probably even more difficult to break into to that category because it's web series. They haven't been around that long.
You know, digital drama. It was created by. Thank you for that. It was created by Crystal Chappelle. She used to be on Days of Our Lives, and then One Life to Live, Guiding Light in New York. She's a multi-Emmy award-winning actress, producer, and the creator of the Venice the Series. She was on the first female love story in New York, and when One Life to Live, Guiding Light went down, she brought the storyline here to California, and she created Venice the Series. It is 10 years, I don't say 10 years old, but it was created over 10 years ago, and we started filming the 7th season, and she was my soap opera crush, and I met her at a wedding, and I was very nervous, couldn't talk to her, because if I have a crush on somebody, I get very nervous, I get very silent, but yet I want to be part of it. My twin introduced me to her. We're friends with Nadia Bjorlin, who was on Days of Our Lives, and her husband Grant, who were at the wedding. And, you know, I sent her a card that said, it was very nice to meet you, and you are my soap.
Of course you did.
And I alluded that if you ever need somebody like me on your show, please know that I'd love to. A year later, I got an email that brought me into season 5. I played a detective, Nick Fander, and she was so, the reception was so beautiful that they brought me in to play the twin brother to Nate. And my character got bullied. On the show, our characters were bullied, and then on the show, I was being bullied by my boss, who was bullied by other people and bullied by her father. So it is this beautiful storytelling, and she actually comes to me to open up her heart. I don't want to. It's a love story. Whenever I talk about the show, I don't talk about, well, it's about 2 women. You know, I talk about it being an amazing love story where we can all, you know, being in love it has its ups and downs. It's good, it's bad. It's, you know, I'm sure if there's a series about you and your wife, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just a love story. And I'm proud to be part of their love story. And they let me plan, they let me do my thing. And I was nominated for an Emmy. And the year I was nominated, they had the most submissions they've ever had. And you know what I'm proud of is I didn't, they give you 15 minutes and my submission was only 4 minutes because I believe.
That's great.
You know, yeah, I'm grateful. I got to be part of a show that tells beautiful stories. And it was real and simple. And I got to work with Orla Cassidy, who is out of New York, and she's a dream. And I'm grateful. I will forever have that, and I will forever be grateful that I got to be part of this great storytelling. And it's awesome. And I walk into my office and I'm like, yeah. So going back to what we talked about in the very beginning, you know, of being written off a show because I wasn't ready, and
Right.
I didn't deliver the goods the way I could have. And now knowing that I earned it and it wasn't just given to me means a lot more to me than, Matt knows. Like yeah, I'm grateful that I'm my parents' kid. I work really hard for what I do.
Yeah, that's such a great story. Now I know we've got to I know we got to wrap up pretty soon, but I wanted to throw a few others out there that I enjoyed you in. Okay. All right. So Counterpart.
With my twin brother, yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. There was shoot, now I've forgotten the name. Oh, The Forgotten. You had an appearance on there, which I like that show.
Wasn't it good?
Yeah, it was a really good show.
Christian Slater is awesome. Real quickly about Counterpart. Shot in Berlin, Germany, created by Justin Marks, who is now creating the new Shogun with his wife.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for that one.
One of the best jobs I've ever had. When you want a job up here with SAG, it was a pinch me moment, like just a pinch me moment. And because I grew up going to Berlin, Germany to see my grandparents and be with my mom, to then go home and have my twin be with me, it doesn't get better than that. So to be on the show, for him and I to play both parts, if you haven't seen it, it's on Apple TV, and it's one of the great shows of the past 15, 20 years. Amazing storytelling.
That's terrific. So the other one, and I've got a little story to tell you. So I met Ben McKenzie at a convention. This has been a few years back. My son and I cover the conventions, as part of the podcast. So we met Ben, who you got to act with on the OC with that. So the story, though, that I thought was kind of neat was that I was just waiting for my turn to kind of introduce myself and, ask him a few questions. And the story he was telling to the people in front of us was about his favorite scenes on the OC. And the one he mentioned was the one with you where you're kissing the other gentleman, because it was like one of the early times that has happened on TV or on network TV. So I just thought that was kind of a neat story with that. So I was like, all right.
We're kind of connected. Yeah, he was very cool. I played a character named Gus, and I played Luke's father's lover. And the reason why it was such a pivotal moment was it was the first male-to-male kiss on primetime.
Yeah. That's pretty great. Which it's kind of strange, though, when you think about it, because it really wasn't that long ago. It's both. It's one of those, it seems like it was yesterday, and it's been like a while.
Yeah, it was way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
With a guy named Brian McNamara, who really, 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 really cool guy. I actually just reposted the scene on my social media.
Yeah, I actually saw it, which reminded me of the story. So I was like, oh, I got to tell him that story.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so funny because at the end that we did the scene, we're both like, am I a good kisser? Hi, my name's Gregory. We're going to make out. Was that okay? Yeah.
That's a very guy thing to worry about, I think.
We're guys.
You also had, and this is the last thing that I wanted to bring up, but you also had a pretty big role in the movie 86 Melrose Avenue.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to bring that up. How did that role come about? Because I thought it was a really, really interesting kind of if fun's not the right word, but it was probably fun to play.
Yeah, the movie, it was the hardest job I've ever had. It's still out now on Amazon Prime, on Apple. It's a movie about mental health, PTSD, an ex-Marine storms an art gallery and he's having PTSD, but he's having a break, and the ravages of war have caught up to him, and he breaks, and he storms this art gallery exhibit and takes all 10 of us hostage. It was created and written and directed by Lily Mata, who I have worked for before. And the genius for me in this movie is that everything that happens in the art gallery, we shot in chronological order. I had only met, 10 of us were taken hostage. So in the movie, it's only maybe 2 hours. But we were together for close to a week. So here we are, 10 actors, kind of as strangers. And by the end of the week, we have all been held at gunpoint. We have all crawled on our knees. We have all fought for our lives. And, you know, we all broke to some level. And you see it, you feel it, you experience it. And the day that I wrapped those scenes, I got in my car and I sobbed. So the beautiful part of being part of the story is that I got to reach out to a lot of places. And quickly back to my twin, he's a recurring guest on the Kelly Clarkson show, and last year I got to promote the movie and talk about mental health and talk about mental illness. And one of her sponsors, Pilot Pens, made a huge donation to the Wounded Warrior Project, because we don't, you know, my heart goes out to the people that are, you know, dealing with the war in Ukraine and Russia right now. You know,
yeah, for sure.
You know, we have all come off an international pandemic. You know, I went to Starbucks and everybody was in a mask except me. And I'm like, oh crap, where's my mask? And we're all surviving something.
Yeah.
So, you know, Michael, it goes back to as simple as, you know, if you make a phone call to somebody and they're trying to help you online or check to see if your warranty is still up to date, ask them how they are. Go, how are you? What's okay? Because, you know, we've all survived a pandemic.
That's right.
Over 1 million people haven't survived.
Yeah.
So what can we do differently to ask somebody how they are, see how somebody's doing? I say this on every chance I get is, you know, when you walk by a parking meter and if you have a dime in your pocket, put your dime in their meter. You just save them $36. And I got that from my my yoga guru, Francesca. You know, she said, leave footprints of kindness.
I like that.
Wherever you go. So
yeah, you're paying it forward.
You are, and making a difference to somebody else.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, Gregory, thank you so much. This has been terrific. You're going to have to come back. We got so much more to talk about.
Oh my God, and I should come back after you when I do yoga, because then we will have video footage of us.
I think we need to do that one like immediately after yoga.
Okay. We'll do it side by side. Since you'll be here, we can do it here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one needs to be just a live interview right after yoga.
We'll be sweaty, and I just say, let's do it.
All right. I'm in for that too. So, okay. So Gregory, before you go, you know, is there anything else that you're working on that we can kind of keep an eye out for?
Yes. I start a movie tomorrow called Martinez, Margaritas, and Murder. It's my first horror flick.
Nice.
I have a movie coming out on Netflix. It's a rom-com. I start filming a movie in April called Roasted, and I'm in a new version of Scooby-Doo that comes out.
Oh, I'm really excited for that one. You're the sheriff.
I play Shaggy's dad. I play Sheriff Rogers.
Yeah. Okay. So would they have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids? When is that one coming out? I'm excited for that.
Look, hold on, I'll show you this real quickly. Come on. This is my sheriff banner. Look.
Nice. Yeah, Coolsville, Ohio. Oh, that's close to me.
I even have my badge. It'll be out in April. So I'm excited.
That's exciting. Yeah. That one's really exciting. I was hoping you'd bring that one up. That's why I was holding that one. I was going to ask if you didn't, but that's good.
It'll be fun.
That'll be really good. Okay. So the last thing before you go, where can we find you on social media?
At Gregory Zarian. Everything, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The TikTok thing scares me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, TikTok, and I just started learning how to do reels here and there. It's too much. If you want to find me, email me, call me. Yeah.
Or write you a letter.
I would love that. I would. I have a box of Christmas cards ready to go out still. I know.
Oh, a little Rudolph on there. Very nice.
You know, we're all from the island of misfit toys, so of course.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite, one of those claymation type of Christmas shows?
I love Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but
that's the Burgermeister Burger, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See the Meister right there. That's where that comes from. That show. I mean, Khan's kind of obvious. That's the Star Trek one, but that's where the Meister comes from. I was like, nobody's going to have this name.
So awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Gregory. This has been just a blast. And yeah, we absolutely have to do it again after yoga.
We have a date, and thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And I want to end it with this. I became very connected to an organization called Free to Love, and it's all about celebrating who you are. So it's freetolove.org, and it's FREE2LUV.org. And it's just about, people struggle with who they are, and especially with who they are in the privacy of their own home. And with COVID and everything, online bullying became 10 times more. So if somebody is worried about who they are mentally, emotionally, especially sexually these days, Free to Love is an amazing outlet where you are not alone, and you can reach out to somebody and say, hey, you know what? I'm struggling with who I am. Can you help me? And I love that there are places and organizations, and you're a dad, kids are very afraid to even just talk, but to talk to somebody that may possibly make a difference. I talk about them all the time because it could possibly save someone's life, and it has saved people's lives. So
what a great organization. That's terrific. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, terrific. All right, sir, hold on one second. I hope you guys enjoyed that. The very polite Gregory Zarian. I absolutely had a blast doing that interview. He's just a terrific person. I think the positivity is very much appreciated, especially these days. We need more of that, and the politeness and taking care of each other. And I'm sure he is a fabulous life coach. I have no doubt. So that was for me just a terrific interview, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I should have mentioned I'm going to have him back because I didn't even get to talk about 90210. I'm going to look down because there's so many. Oh, Bones, Castle. I loved him on Castle, Revenge, The Mentalist, Entourage. There was and I'm leaving some out. Pretty sure he was on The Guiding Light for a little while too. Yeah, just a terrific actor. And I meant that about the commercials. I see him all the time pop up on commercials. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't done so yet, we could use the help on our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod, trying to grow that channel. So if you would help us and subscribe, we really appreciate that. You can find all 350 plus episodes, audio and video, on our website, meistercon.com. There's a funny, well-written, geeky blog from Brett. I love his writing. You can check that out. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, if we're covering a convention, as we mentioned in the interview, all of that will be on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.